And then you get here in verse 6, it came to pass that they would come, that he looked to Eliab, and he asked him to bring his boys out. Jesse brings his sons out. He brings the oldest son first, because of course, if anybody's going to be the next king, it's got to be the oldest son, right? He brings Eliab out, and Samuel says, surely the Lord's anointing is before him. But the Lord said to Samuel, look not on his countenance, or on the height of his stature, or his broad shoulders, or his big chest, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, but man looketh upon the outward appearance, but the Lord looks upon the heart. The Lord looks upon the soul, the lebah, the inner man. This word heart in the Hebrew is not the same word heart that you would think your cardio. It's not cardio, it's the Hebrew lebah. That means God looks upon the inner man, he looks upon the soul. And so that brings us back to Genesis. God made us into a living soul, something totally different than everything else. And I'm laying groundwork for something here because I want us to get to a place where we value one another. You know, we value animals more than we value people. And the reason why is because we do not understand the difference. I know that sometimes people can have an animal kind of attitude, but still, that's not who they are. That's a result of something. People have been created, humanity has been created in a wonderful way. I'm not even just talking about the fact that we have a mind that calculates and we have a body that heals itself. Everybody does that. Animals do that too. But we have a soul, the ability to be able to calculate and think and decide. You know, we kind of miss this. You know, animals are subject to. They're subject to whatever happens. But as men and women, God has given us dominion. Rodah. God has given us Rodah. R-A-W, D-A-W. You should remember this. The Rodah is the ability to rule. The ability to dominate and to tread down. The power and the authority over things and over conditions. That's why when it gets really hot in the summer, trees don't grow that aren't supposed to be there because there's no water. Animals, when they can't find any food, die. But man, because he can calculate, he'll build a casino in the desert. A whole city, you bring water and plant trees that don't even belong in the desert. Because we have the authority and the ability to dominate our environment. God did that for us when he created us. That's what makes us so uniquely different. And each and every person in here, you have the power and the ability to dominate your environment. Why? Because that's how God made us. Now, do we live like that? Sometimes we don't. We allow our environment to dominate us. That's why people get high. Because that weed just take over. They just smoking and smoking. I can't quit. Yes, you can. You can stop, smoking. You can stop, nicotine. You can stop drinking. You can stop letting anything that's not humane dominate your life. He gave us the power to rule. To command things in our lives. You know, sometimes you ought to just try yourself out. You know, sometimes you set an alarm clock, get up to the clock. You should don't set your alarm clock and tell yourself to wake up at 6 and watch what happens. You'll wake up at 6. You can wake up at any time that you want to, but here's what happens. We tell ourselves, I can't wake up, I need an alarm clock. So the moment you tell yourself what you can't do, you don't do it. But you have the power to dominate your own life. You have the power to tell yourself, you're getting up at 4. You know how I know? Tell some kids they're going to Magic Mountain and you got to get up at 4. They will be up before you and they don't need no alarm. Hey, Papa, whoa, it's 4 o'clock, right on time. Because they told themselves the night before, we got to get up at 4, we got to get up at 4. We need to get up at 4. Oh yeah, we need to. They be up and they're up and at it. Where did you brush your teeth? I don't need to brush I didn't hear him. God has made us like that. He has created us that way. That we have the ability to dominate and command and influence. Influence people, influence things, control our environment. That's what God does. But in Genesis chapter 2, verse 25, something else peculiar happens. It says that God made man and then he did an operation and took Adam's rib and created a woman out of the womb of man.